Today we're diving into a topic that has been debated in the One Piece world for a long time, and one that, in my opinion, has finally become clear. When and how will Yamato join the Straw Hat crew? All the signs we saw in the Wano arc, Yamato's role in the story, the bond formed with Luffy, and the upcoming major wars lead me to one very clear conclusion. In a moment, I'll explain my theory in detail and break down why Yamato joining the crew is absolutely inevitable. But before we start, I have to say this. You guys are my Straw Hat crew. And right now, the channel is dealing with a serious algorithm problem. Our videos aren't being recommended like they used to, so I really need your support. If you subscribe, like the video, and share your thoughts in the comments, you can help push us back up again. Your support means a lot to me. If you're ready, let's begin. I believe Yamato joining the Straw Hat crew is inevitable, because Yamato's story feels like it was written specifically to intersect with Luffy's. All the signs we saw in the Wano arc, Yamato's passion for freedom, inheriting Oden's dream, and the bond with Ace all point toward Yamato ultimately ending up with the Straw Hat crew. The character's motivations, past, and personality make joining Luffy's crew feel completely natural, both emotionally and narratively. Yamato's energy and personality fit perfectly with the Straw Hat crew. Cheerful, strong, brave, funny, yet incredibly loyal. Yamato might even be one of the closest characters to Luffy in terms of pure energy. From their very first meeting, the connection Yamato built with Luffy, the memories shared with Ace, and the instinctive trust in Luffy show that Yamato is already behaving like part of the crew. Yamato's approach to Luffy isn't like a guest, more like someone who's been part of the family for years. The connection to Ace is the strongest emotional factor in Yamato eventually joining Luffy. Yamato genuinely loved Ace. Ace telling Yamato about Luffy, the respect Yamato had for Luffy's dreams, and the impact Ace left, all of this deepened Yamato's sense of loyalty toward Luffy. That's why Yamato's desire to be by Luffy's side isn't just admiration, it's almost a promise made to Ace. Considering what Luffy went through after losing Ace, having someone like Yamato powerful, warm, and loyal would also bring emotional balance to the story. This is why I never believed Yamato would stay in Wano long term. Yamato's dream is the same as Oden's, to travel the world, cross borders, and live freely while shaping one's own destiny. And the only place the dream can come true is on Luffy's ship. Staying in Wano was only a temporary responsibility, but the true journey was always meant to begin with the Straw Hats. Just as Oden sailed with Whitebeard and Roger, Yamato needs to begin this personal journey alongside Luffy. The massive threats Luffy will soon face also make Yamato's joining even more likely. Blackbeard's attacks, the Navy's increasing pressure, and the Gorosei stepping onto the battlefield have pushed the Straw Hats into a completely different league. I can't imagine Yamato sitting in Wano while all of this unfolds. The moment Yamato hears Luffy is in danger, the loyalty to Ace and the respect for Luffy will push Yamato into action. At that point, the borders of Wano aren't a limitation, just another obstacle to cross. In my opinion, the event that triggers Yamato joining the crew will almost certainly be a moment where Luffy is in danger. Because when you look at Yamato's character, you see someone who doesn't hesitate to act when loved ones are threatened. The connection to Ace is the strongest example of this, and Yamato feels the exact same loyalty toward Luffy. Whether it's a battle against Blackbeard, news of the attack on Hancock reaching Luffy, or the Navy targeting Luffy, any of these would make Yamato leaving Wano unavoidable. In such a moment, Yamato staying behind for Wano's sake becomes impossible. Yamato's bond with Luffy isn't just respect or admiration, it's the kind of loyalty that makes someone willing to fight for him. The fact that Luffy trusted Yamato in Wano, broke the shackles, and treated Yamato as someone capable of making independent choices meant everything. Yamato admired the way Luffy protects those he cares about and wants to walk the same path with someone who lives that way. That's why Yamato appearing in any major fight, especially against someone like Blackbeard, feels like the most natural story progression. Yamato joining the Straw Hats isn't just an emotional or character-based necessity, it's also a crucial move in terms of power balance. The Straw Hats are no longer just a pirate crew, they're a world-shifting force comparable to a Yonko. As we head toward the final battles against the Gorosei, the Admirals, Blackbeard, and even Emu, Yamato's strength, especially the Mythical Zoan form, becomes an incredible advantage. A warrior of this level would raise the Straw Hats' power to a new tier. And we already know Yamato would fit perfectly within the crew once joining. The chemistry with Luffy is undeniable. Every interaction with Zoro, Sanji, Brook, Usopp, Nami, and the others flows naturally. Yamato's cheerful and warm nature aligns perfectly with the crew's energy. When Yamato joins, it would have a massive effect on both morale and combat power, just like Jinba's addition. Yamato is one of the closest characters to embodying the Straw Hat spirit, so fitting in would never be an issue. In my theory, the timeline for Yamato's return isn't far away. Oda has clearly sped up the story, and each arc is building directly on the previous one. With the Vegapunk incident, Elbaf approaching, and Blackbeard's threat growing, the world is shaping itself perfectly for Yamato's return. That's why I believe Yamato will come back and join the Straw Hat crew before the final battle, right in the middle of the major wars. This timing would be both dramatic and perfectly aligned with Yamato's character. Another reason I think Yamato's return will be powerful is because the character was written like a loaded spring waiting to explode. Oda placed Yamato at the center of Wano, gave a huge backstory, connected Yamato to Ace, entrusted Oden's will, and then suddenly left the character behind in Wano. In storytelling, that's usually a sign of a guaranteed comeback character. Yamato not being on screen right now doesn't mean being removed. It means being held back for the perfect moment. Characters like this always make a massive impact when they return. Another major reason Yamato joining is inevitable is the power balance within the Straw Hats. As the final war approaches, the crew is no longer just a group of adventurers, they're a world-changing force. The enemies standing in Luffy's way are all Emperor-level threats. Even with Zoro, Sanji, and Jinbei, adding another Mythical Zoan would dramatically strengthen the crew. As Kaido's child, Yamato was trained under extreme conditions and was written to be near Yonko level. That kind of power is priceless for the Straw Hats. Yamato's personality would also bring incredible liveliness to the crew dynamic. Yamato is excited, free-spirited, childlike at times, yet responsible when it matters. That's exactly the essence of the Straw Hat crew: chaos, fun, seriousness, and loyalty. Yamato would fit perfectly with Nami, form a deep bond with Robin, love Usopp's stories, get along spectacularly with Frankie, joke with Brook, and have adorable chemistry with Chopper. With Zoro and Jinbei, Yamato would develop a warrior's mutual respect. In short, Yamato wouldn't clash with anyone. Yamato staying in Wano was always just about timing. I see it exactly like Jinba's situation. Jinba's joining was delayed for years, but when it happened, it was perfect. Yamato's case is identical. Wano needed to stabilize, Momo had to adjust to leadership, and Yamato staying briefly made sense. But that was always temporary. Yamato's real journey doesn't end in Wano like Oden. Yamato must travel the world and find freedom alongside Luffy. I also believe Yamato's entrance into the story will be dramatic. While Luffy is in the middle of a major battle, when everything is reaching a critical point, Yamato could suddenly appear just like Jinba appeared in the battle against Kaido. This dramatic entrance would bring enormous energy to the story. Yamato shouting, "I'm here too," would boost the Straw Hats' morale and give Luffy huge support. This kind of entrance fits Oda's storytelling style perfectly. One reason I think Yamato will appear specifically during the Blackbeard conflict is the current danger map of the story. Blackbeard has attacked Hancock, captured Kobe, and fought Law. He's causing major events worldwide. Luffy still hasn't learned about the attack on Hancock, and the moment he does, the story will shift into a new phase. Information like that would trigger both Luffy and Yamato, because Yamato sees fighting Luffy's enemies as a personal responsibility. Also, the first confrontation between Luffy and Blackbeard happening before the final war now feels very likely. They're both Yonko, they operate at opposite ends of the world, and their paths have crossed indirectly several times already. A clash between them, one that maybe ends unresolved or breaks apart chaotically, feels incredibly realistic. And right at that moment, Yamato appearing could be the perfect beginning for joining the crew. One of Yamato's strongest motivations throughout the story was continuing Oden's dream. Oden's desire to travel the world, explore the seas, and follow freedom passed directly to Yamato. That's why staying in Wano long-term goes against Yamato's character writing. Helping Wano temporarily makes sense, but staying permanently would mean the end of Yamato's story. But Yamato's story isn't over, it's simply waiting. And that wait will only make sense once Yamato joins the Straw Hats. From a character development perspective, Yamato joining the crew makes perfect sense. Yamato wants to break free from Kaido's shadow, form a personal identity, and see the world as a free individual. And the Straw Hat crew is exactly where people like that come together. Luffy is the only person who allowed Yamato to be fully authentic. Even Yamato saying "I'm Oden" wasn't an issue for Luffy, because Luffy supports people living however they want. This compatibility proves Yamato will only grow stronger beside Luffy. I also think Yamato's return and crew entrance will happen in a way that's very clear narratively. Yamato leaving Wano will be tied to a major battle. At a moment where Luffy's life is in danger and everyone has lost hope, Yamato appearing would be both dramatic and powerful, the kind of moment that becomes unforgettable. Just like Jinbe's legendary "I've come Luffy" scene, Yamato's arrival would add both strength and morale to the Straw Hat crew. Yamato joining the Straw Hat crew would also hold deep meaning for Luffy's leadership. Luffy is no longer just a pirate, he's a figure shaking the foundations of the world. On this journey, Luffy needs another strong, determined ally who knows how to fight. Yamato grew up in the home of a monster like Kaido and became stronger through constant battles. Considering the enemies Luffy now faces, having Yamato on the crew is also a strategic advantage. On this world-shaking final journey, someone like Yamato increases the crew's power and resolve. Yamato would also add a new color to the Straw Hats' energy. The crew is already cheerful, warm, and tightly bonded. Yamato's comedic moments, eccentric personality, and strong will would elevate that even more. Funny scenes with Brook, Frankie, Usopp, and Chopper, warm connections with Robin and Nami, and a warrior's respect with Zoro and Jinbe would bring new dynamics to One Piece. Yamato's arrival enriches the crew not just in power but in personality balance too. Despite everything, the delay of Yamato joining actually adds excitement to the story, because when something that everyone expects gets delayed, its impact becomes even bigger. Just like Jinbe being delayed for years and then joining in an iconic moment, Yamato's return will create the same effect. A long-awaited character finally boarding Luffy's ship becomes a deeply satisfying moment. And Oda loves this kind of dramatic impact. Major character returns are always supported with powerful scenes. That's why my theory is clear. Yamato will definitely join the Straw Hat crew. Both personal motivations, character compatibility, and the direction of the story all point to the same conclusion. Yamato staying in Wano was just a temporary task. The true journey needs to begin with Luffy. The major threats Luffy will face, especially Blackbeard, will trigger Yamato's departure. And the moment Yamato hears Luffy is in danger, there will be no hesitation. Alright friends, that's my Yamato theory. As we rapidly approach the final stage of One Piece, I'm convinced that Yamato joining the Straw Hat crew is inevitable for character reasons, power balance, and the natural flow of the story. When do you think Yamato will return to Luffy? Will the Blackbeard battle trigger it, or something completely different? Share your thoughts in the comments, I'll be reading all of them, and if you want more theories like this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.